Hello everybody, my name is Zuli Rain. I am a content creator, freelance blogger, and cat mom, and I make videos all about how to grow your blogging empire. A really big and I think underrated aspect of growing your blogging empire is thinking about how you want to communicate with your audience. If you're blogging, if you're using a website, or if you're using a platform like Medium, that's great, but it relies on your audience coming to you. What if you get a super fan who wants to hear from you more often? How do you reach out to them? That is a newsletter. I want to talk about two newsletter options, Ghost and Substack, that get brought up a lot. I have a clear favorite. That's going to be my disclosure at the beginning of this video. Quick summary. This is the summary of the whole video. If you're earning more than $9 a month and you're looking for a platform, you should go with Ghost, not with Substack. If you're earning less than that, I would say try Substack first and then maybe move to Ghost when you're feeling more comfortable and more successful as a creator. If that's all you needed, happy to serve. Have a great day. If you're wondering how I came to that conclusion, where I got my numbers from, yada yada, if you want to hear my spicy opinion about these platforms, stay tuned for the rest of the video. Let's start with a summary of each of the platforms. Substack is, I would say it's a revolutionary newsletter platform. Okay, so back in like 2017, when it was the height of ad online and it was exhausting, right? As a consumer, it was exhausting. As a creator, it was exhausting. Substack came onto the scene and literally changed the game. It's this super simple functionality, right? You get people who sign up to your newsletter and then you send them a newsletter. That's it. That's all it does. I mean, okay, I'm being unfair. Lately, it's added a couple of extra features. You can upload audio and you can upload videos. You can't do any kind of sophisticated segmentation, but literally, if all you want to do is send an email to people who want to hear from you, that's it, you're gold. It's very easy to set up. You can switch from free to paid. Like, they also have a really interesting recommendation mechanism. So this is a recent addition. Now, when I recently subscribed to Ed Zitron's newsletter, Where's Your Ed At, which I found very funny, I was also recommended, it said like, oh, if you like this newsletter, Ed thinks you'll like these other newsletters. And I subscribed to two based on those recommendations. So there's also a discovery mechanism. It's not just subscribe and done. Substack is free to use. You don't have to pay anything. They take a percentage of what you earn. If what you earn is zero, they take zero. If you start earning more than that, I think they take between 7 and 15%. I will update this video when I have the complete number. Okay, now let's move on to a summary of Ghost. Ghost is, I consider it a more comprehensive, call it a creator platform. Okay, so it costs a little bit of money to start, and that's the biggest pro and con, I think. So you pay a minimum of $9 a month as I make this video to create a Ghost account. And what that lets you do is it lets you create gated content on a website. You can do a newsletter, you can do a paid subscription, you can host content like blog content. It's like a website slash newsletter slash blog all in one place. It's a little bit more complex than Substack. It lets you be a little bit more sophisticated about what kind of content you give to who. It gives you more customization options. You can really make it your own. I spoke to a couple of creators who switched from Substack to Ghost for reasons I will get into below. That's my spicy take. And the main feedback that they had was Ghost gives a lot more options for customization. There's a lot more freedom. But if you're not techie, there's a little bit of a learning curve to getting it set up. I do want to mention, if you're fully techie, Ghost is free to use. The entire platform is open source. You can go to GitHub, download the software, and get it up and running yourself. I'm not like that. So when I do, I will be paying the $9 a month, or whatever I have for my number of paid members, to get somebody like Ghost Pro to get someone to do that for me, because that's not really my jam. So summary of Ghost: more customizable, more powerful, and aside from the $9 or slightly more that you pay per month, they don't take a cut. So what you get is what you earn. They don't take a percentage of that, which I think is really great. The main benefit of going to Substack is if you're a complete beginner and you don't want to invest anything in getting started building your audience. It's so easy to use. Like that is its 100% super redeeming feature. It's a great platform to reach out to people that want to hear from you. That's what it does best. It doesn't try to overcomplicate things. It's very simple to get set up, and it doesn't cost anything to get set up. A lot of creators start a newsletter and then give it up 3 months later. If you're worried that might be you, Substack is definitely the best option because you won't lose hardly any time getting it set up. You're not going to lose any money paying for it. If you're worried about commitment, I would say start with Substack. And you can always, it's very easy to migrate from Substack to other platforms, so you've got options. Now, that's the main Substack pro. The main pro of Ghost, I would say, is just about everything else. When I made a Medium versus Ghost video a couple months ago, my main complaint about Ghost was that it was a little complicated and honestly confusing to get set up, and I consider myself, not like a whiz or at coding or anything like that, but fairly tech savvy. I know my way around a computer. And they've changed that. They have really rejigged the sort of starting perspective. So there's a wizard that helps you get started with getting set up. The help documentation is very comprehensive. When you reach out to them, they're pretty quick to reply. So they are better at for beginners too. And beyond that, I would say they're superior to Substack in almost every single way. So they don't take a fee of what you earn. There's so much more customization options. Like you can paywall blog content, you can paywall videos, you can do any kind of subscription-based membership that you want to do, and you can really control what the website looks like. You can control, like, if you want to do segmentation for your email list. Substack doesn't let you do that. It's a more cohesive, more holistic, all-in-one creator platform. With Ghost, because it's open source, nobody owns it. It's just you. You're the owner and the maintainer of everything. The payment is for getting somebody else to do the sort of techie stuff in the background for you. As a quick summary, Substack is best for beginners who aren't sure if being a creator is for them. Ghost is for people who are pretty committed to their audience, pretty committed to their content creator journey, and who want a little bit more power and control over how they interact with their audience. That's my TLDR. This is an ideological perspective, so if you don't care about my opinions or your only concern is functionality, feel free to, close out this video. I've talked about all the features and functionality. This is something I wish I'd known when I got started with my Substack. Substack has done two pretty dodgy things that I don't love that I wish I'd known. So the first thing is that they have this program called Substack Pro. What happens is, let's say that I have a Substack, I have it monetized, I have 100 subscribers, each of them pays me $5. I get some money, I get most of the money. Substack gets a small percentage of that, of those fees, because that's the trade-off for running the platform. I get access to the platform, they take a percentage. They use that percentage to run the business, but they also use it to fund Substack Pro, which is where they go out to people like, I think Matt Iglesias is one, a couple of other people. They weren't open about who they funded with this. So they take that money and they give it to these creators and say, hey, post on this platform for a year, here's your fund. And I know Matt Iglesias, I think, got $250,000 to do that from fees that they'd collected from other people. So this in and of itself is not an issue. I mean, like, I know platforms do weird stuff to attract celebrities to their platforms all the time. Like YouTube does it, I'm still posting on YouTube, whatever. What I have more of an issue with is that Substack tries to pretend that it's like just a platform, not a publisher, but they are actively soliciting these people to post their opinions on the blog. And they say that they see these decisions as business decisions, not editorial decisions. That's a direct quote from Hamish Mackenzie's post on the subject. Nobody writes for Substack, they write for their own publications. I think this is a little disingenuous. They are a publisher. They headhunted people to write on the platform for them. And if they don't love that association, they shouldn't try to obfuscate and say like, oh, we're just a platform, we're not a publisher, because they are a publisher. They should say, yeah, we believe that Matt Iglesias deserves this money and we want him on the platform and that's why we gave him the money. That's just one thing. The separate thing is that they have also allowed a lot of hate speech on the platform and they haven't banned anyone. So for example, probably one of the most egregious examples, there was like a lot of COVID misinformation earlier on in the year. Substack don't want to enforce their own content moderation policies. My personal view is if you allow hate speech on your platform under the guise of calling it free speech, you end up with a platform that has a lot of hate speech and not a lot of free speech. So that's all part of one issue, is that I don't love their content moderation policies. Again, maybe that doesn't bother you, whatever, that's your choice if so. It bothered me and it was something I wish I'd known earlier on. The second controversial thing that they did that I didn't love is one of the writers who had a deal with Substack left Substack for a different platform, Ghost. And they wrote an article saying, hey, this is why. This is why I've left Substack. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. I'm going to Ghost instead. You can find me there. And in retaliation, Substack fired the editor. So the editor, they had originally hired this editor to write for, or to edit for that author, but also a couple of other authors. And because they didn't like the affiliation, the editor at this point had not made any negative statement towards Substack, but they still fired him, Sam Thielman. They still fired the editor, Sam Thielman, because they didn't like his affiliation with someone who was critical of them as a platform. That was really shady. And I'll post a couple of blogs in the video description if you want to read more about that. If you're gonna be a proponent of free speech, then don't literally cancel people's contracts who are only associated with people who are critical of you. To me, that felt very much like they were trying to punish Sam Thielman because they couldn't punish the writer who actually left the platform and wrote this kind of negative blog post about Substack. There are a lot of writers I love and support and subscribe to on Substack, namely Today in Tabs, Ryan Broderick's Garbage Day, but it's just something to keep in mind if you ever go on paid yourself, paid newsletters, what Substack is using their portion of that fee for. In conclusion, Substack, great tool for me, slightly questionable leadership. Ghost, unreprehensible leadership from as far as I can tell, really cool tool, a little bit more complicated and a little bit more technical, but still pretty approachable for beginners and offers more customization potential. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I love and I read every single one. I love hearing what you think, even if you disagree, especially if you disagree. I'm just one person and I know we've all got very different opinions. If you've used Ghost, if you used Substack, or if there's a third, fourth platform that you prefer, let me know. Again, I love to hear that kind of stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye everyone, and have a great rest of your day.